Hey, this is Royce Hall with the Wealth Science Podcast. We're joined once again by Michael Beswick, the Director of Consulting Services at CRM Science. Good to have you again.
Thank you. It's good to be here again.
So we've been discussing financial services cloud, the different things that people come to Salesforce for in the financial realm, and kind of the different options for people. So you've kind of walked us through a lot of that in the first couple of sessions, but I want to dive in a little bit more with you being the Director of Consulting Services. What is it that people come to us for? So, like, what are the offers? How do we serve people? What are the things that we do with them?
Sure. I guess the first thing that we do with Financial Services Cloud is we do offer a quick start to Financial Services Cloud, Jumpstart, Quick Start, whatever you want to call it. What that is we can get your org set up, we can get your users into the org, do a little bit of light customizing, making sure that you have the fields that you're looking for. A couple of your processes are in there, your stages for bringing somebody in, vetting them, getting them through until you're sure you're doing business with them, as well as a couple of what Salesforce calls action plans, which are essentially a list of things to do whenever something needs to get created. So that's if you have a contact in 2 weeks action plan, it will be a reminder that's triggered based off of an event, and within 2 weeks there'll be a task there reminding you to call that person.
Let me ask you a question on that. So, we do quite a few jump starts, across multiple industries and for multiple purposes. If Salesforce is a platform for the line of business user, why is Jumpstart even a thing? Who uses that?
Um, I would say that the best person to use a Jumpstart is probably a 10 to 20 person company, bringing on a small amount of users. Uh, the Jumpstart exists to quickly get somebody up and running on Salesforce. So it's to get you 90% of the way, not that last 10. Um, a client used to tell me when he implements, he actually likes it to kind of hurt because his people using it when it hurts will identify what they should focus on for the next iteration of improvements that they make to the system. But that's essentially what a jumpstart does. You'll get all out of the box functionality, a little bit of tailoring toward what your business and business process is, but you'll have all the functionality that FSC gives you, which a lot of that can fit 80 to 90% of what your business process is.
Gotcha. So we do the Jumpstart. What else? What are the other things that CRM
So,
Science probably does?
all right, so we also do full implementations, which are probably for 22 multi-hundred person companies. And that is a longer process where we will embed ourselves with you. We will do a deep discovery. We'll find out all the requirements that you need. We will work with you to determine what the proper system design is so that you can scale when it's time to scale. And then we'll sign off on all the requirements and define what the MVP is going to be. MVP being minimum viable product. We will then build with you the minimum viable product, extensively do testing and training to get you guys started off, and then guide you through launch and adoption activities. So that's making sure that people are actually using the system, that there's benefit being generated out of it, that we can analyze and get information on the return of investment that you're doing. And it's just a much broader, fuller, more custom to your exact process implementation that you would get from a quick start. And it's reflected in the amount of time that is spent. So while a quick start can be done rather quickly, a fuller implementation usually takes between 3 to 5 months. It's a lot more interactive with you, the client, than it is from our side, where quick start is like, hey, we've given you FSC, this is what it does, this is what you can do. Whereas a full implementation is, we've sat with you, we understand your business completely, we've suggested things, you've suggested things, and we've come up with ways to technologically match all of the things that we've signed off on as MVP, and we've developed a roadmap for what MVP 2 is going to look like, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, going down the road.
And I like what you call out there about, like, laying out the roadmap, because I think a lot of people come to our company. We also have like advisory and managed services deals where, we walk next to somebody for a long period of time, right? And kind of manage their instances. But there's a lot of consultation as well, right? Like when people are coming into the Salesforce world, it's kind of like, I don't know, what can it do, right? You said it's
Right.
Legos, but when I build Legos, I have like the picture of the thing I'm supposed to build, right?
Fair.
So like, it helps to have somebody that can come along and say, here's the pitfalls, here's the ditch, here's what you need to build, so that your Lego car looks like a car and not just a mishmash of things, right?
Right. And that is definitely something that would come with the full implementation, that comes with our managed services, and definitely our analysis. So with the full implementation, that's going to look like, again, that's us embedding, learning all of your practices. We will challenge your team. So there may be somebody saying, like, we insist that this object have these 4 things, and we'll come back and we'll say, well, the best practice way to do that is this, or here's another idea. The reason that we think you should do it this way is because it'll allow for this to be scalable rather than you running out of space on this. Many other reasons, right? So we will challenge you and work together to find the best solutions, I think, is the way to put that. When it comes to managed services, so managed services is a little bit of a different beast. So in managed services, most of the time, um, the org will have already existed or will have already done the implementation at an earlier point. Um, that again starts to look like we do an analysis to make sure everything's healthy and that when we're doing work, it can be scalable. But we also want to learn the business again. It may be piece by piece. We may be doing smaller portions of projects in an MSP, but we are learning the business as we go along so that we can start making suggestions that we can push back, and we can be consultative in the suggestion in the solutions that we present. Like, it's very easy to say, hey, consultant, I would like a trigger that every time an account gets created, it sends an email to Royce, right? It's very easy to say that and very easy for a consultant to say, hey, no problem. It's not very easy to say, hey, consultant, I want a trigger on account that every time one gets created sends an email to Royce. It's not as easy for a consultant to say, well, why is it going to Royce? Are you sure only Royce should get it? Are you sure it needs to be an email? Does it have to be every time? Right? Would it be better as an SMS? Do you want to talk about Omni? Do you want to talk about omni-channel here? Like, we might be able to message him on WhatsApp instead of trying to email, and people don't really look at emails too much anymore. That's the consultative approach that we tend to take, whether it be MSP or bigger implementations, because we do want to be, we want to be as much a part of your business as your employees are.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Bez. For the people that are listening to this podcast, they will know that I try to bring out the authentic person and get to know the individual a little bit. So I know that I gave you some questions beforehand to think about, but I've got one for you that is off the cuff here.
Sure.
Probably nobody knows this about you, but you're really into Christmas. What happened to your LED Christmas tree? Is it gone?
Still up.
Still
No,
up?
it's still up. Yeah. So we were going for a vacation, and we left on Saturday of last week for the vacation. And I promised and promised and promised that we would work on taking it down. And then it was Friday, and I was like, well, we really should double check all of our bags and make sure that we packed everything. And the flight was early, so it stayed up.
That's all right. You're just gonna leave that up as long as you can.
I am trying to, yeah. And I turned it to pink since February is coming up. So it's the Valentine's Day tree now. She has noticed. She's not happy about it. We'll see how it works out.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Oh man. Well, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Royce.
Take care. See you.